was all a dream.
So, what would you little maniacs like to do first?
Let's start dreaming.
It alters your life and you never think the same again.
Some dumb thing on the edges of nowhere.
A collection of question marks stuck together into a pit of darkness. No logic, no reason, no explanation.
We can change it anytime we want. It's only a choice between fear and love.
That's just deep, bro. That's deep.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to episode 2 of the Let's Start Dreaming podcast. I am your co-host, Mikey.
And I am your co-host, Carson. You might notice if you're watching this on video, I'm wearing a Philadelphia Eagles sweatshirt right now. I know we got beat by Pittsburgh the other day, but I need you guys to listen to me right now. We are still going to clinch the NFC East. Dak Prescott, his ankle is fucking toast. He's done. He's done for the season. He should have taken the money. He should have taken that big-ass contract. The Redskins, they're not nearly as dangerous as everybody thought they were going to be. The New York Giants just fucking flat out suck. So Eagles, still going to be top of the NFC East. I'm calling it right now. Go ahead.
You're going to notice I did a lot of hand gestures and faces. I did not know what any of that really meant. Sports ball, yay, score the goal, touchdown, home run, yes.
It's a bowling thing. Don't even worry about it. It's just talking about my bowling league.
All I care about is the Jets because my dad cares about the Jets, and I know everybody hates the Jets.
Jets suck dick this year. Jets suck dick this year. The Giants and the Jets both have 0-5 records, and it's the first time in the history of the NFL that both the New York City teams are starting out with 5 straight losses.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Yeah, football's never been my alley. I watch the Super Bowl. Sometimes I watch a football game on Thanksgiving, and I watch baseball very rarely, and I've wrestled. So those are the only sports I really care about is baseball and wrestling. But enough of that sports ball blabber, am I right? All right. Well, you know, today I wanted to talk about something that, you know, we've kind of touched upon many podcasts. I'm not going to say many, just a couple of podcasts. But, you know, Carson and I have had a history of drug use. Mm-hmm. We have sort of overlapping drug problems / just abuses that we used to do. But the main one I wanted to talk about was marijuana, weed, chiba, ganja, Special K. It's like, that's ketamine, excuse me.
Yeah, that's a whole different ball game.
And I know I've had a relationship with weed for many years, almost, I want to say 7 or 8 or 9 years at this point. And it's just been an up and down cycle of how I've looked at it, how I've used it. And, you know, I just really wanted to delve into it and give you my perspective on how this beautiful drug, this horrible drug, this unbiased, this just drug that can be however you want it to be. I wanted to give my opinion on it.
Yeah, we can't even pretend to claim that this is unbiased because we're both coming from super biased perspectives. And I think the crazy thing about weed in most people's drug histories, if you have a history of, you know, recreational drug use, is weed is like the common denominator. It's the first thing you ever get. It's the first crazy illegal thing you ever get your hands on. Nobody straight up starts with like coke. I mean, if you're doing that, that's a whole different, you're living a different life than I'm familiar with. But most people, they start out, you know, you're 14, 15 years old. Your friend is like, oh man, my older brother sold me a joint or something. I don't know. This isn't like a fucking PSA from the 90s. That's what I'm kind of making it sound like. But everybody has this common denominator of weed. And throughout your use of drugs, weed is always a constant.
You know what? The thing that got me when I was younger that now I really do understand is that weed is a gateway drug. Now, that's a very controversial statement that I just made. I remember I was younger, like, what the no, it's not. Like, oh, I'm going to do weed, and then I'm going to do, like, you think I'm going to do heroin right after? Like, no. But in the sense where I see it now as a gateway drug, is that it kind of melts your barriers as to what is bad and what is good and what's going to hurt you and what's not. Because, you know, you smoke weed and nothing's going to happen, really. Nothing detrimental to your health. You're going to get high. You're gonna get the munchies. You're gonna get sleepy, and your memory's probably gonna go to shit a little bit. But you don't think you're gonna do anything else after that. But after continual use, you might want to try something new, some new drugs, some new experiences. Maybe a Percocet, maybe Adderall, maybe a psychedelic, a hallucinogen. And that's the sense where I really see it as a gateway drug. And that was like for many people, like you said, it's the first thing that they get their hands on.
Well,
And
I think the thing with the gateway drug argument is, what is not a gateway drug? What are the other drugs? If weed's a gateway drug, what is everything else? I mean,
yeah, you make a great point right there. You know that?
Any other drug you use would familiarize you with drugs and drug culture, so everything is a gateway drug. I mean, the only reason alcohol isn't as touted as a gateway drug is obviously because it's legal and it's socially acceptable and it's a big part of the economy, so the government isn't anti-alcohol in that way. And if weed was the same, if weed was as socially acceptable as alcohol, which it's becoming as time goes on, but if that was the case, then people wouldn't consider it a gateway drug, because it's like, well, yeah, the legal drugs, those are okay. I don't even think about those in the same context as I think about the illegal drugs. People don't think about alcohol really in the same context that they think about cocaine, even though they're both drugs.
Not at all. You know what got me today? I was watching a video about Joe Biden, and alcohol and tobacco are not on the scheduling list.
Yeah, because they're not illegal.
Well, I mean, the other drugs aren't. Adderall's not illegal.
Yeah, but it's illegal.
But the thing
if
is,
you
they're
have
so
Adderall.
deadly. They are so deadly. And they're just
having
like,
Adderall
okay,
without a
we're good.
prescription is illegal.
Yeah, but like the fact that alcohol is deadly, the mortality rates that come from alcohol and tobacco are stupid high, and it's just not a problem. Not a problem. But another thing about weed is that, when I was younger, I never thought I was addicted to it. And I really wasn't addicted to it physically, in the physical sense. Like, I'd always tell my mom. She'd be like, oh, you're so addicted to this, like, you can't even stop, see? And I'd be like, yes, I can. I just don't want to stop. Like, why the hell would I want to stop? And, like, yeah, the truth is, I could stop because there was no withdrawals, there was no physical side effects, but mentally I did not want to stop because mentally I just wanted to be high all the time. Mentally I didn't think I was addicted, but I was just in denial, I think.
Yeah, there is an addiction factor that people don't really talk about. That's the problem as well with the Legalize It campaign. The fact that there even needed to be a Legalize It campaign is its own problem, because pot should have never been illegal. But the problem with that is that all these fucking dreadlocked hippies in their drum circles are all like, man, weed is good for medicine. It helps you be more creative. There's no bad things about it at all. There's no side effects. There's no anything. And like, yeah, it's probably one of the safer things you could be doing as far as drugs go, but there are most certainly problems with it. And when you're trying to just glorify the shit out of it because you want it to be legalized, you don't address any of those problems.
Yeah, there's a downfall. Like, imagine glorifying alcohol like that. Like, no. There's many bad things to do come from that. But so my history with weed started when I was 14. It was very innocent. It was like a once in a month type of thing where, you got a gram with your best buddies and you made it an event where you just took a little hike to the woods and you planned a whole day around it. And it was something special. It was something different. You'd get the jitters walking up to the spot, and you get this big ass smile on your face, and you had to hide it from everybody. You had to hide it from people in public. You had to hide it from your parents. It was only something you knew about. You guys
could
knew
smell
about.
it all the way in your backpack in 2 Ziploc bags,
And you carried them in Ziploc bags because you didn't know any better. You didn't have no jar. You didn't have no fucking smell-proof thing. Nah. Oh my god, I remember one time my friend had it in like a fucking coffee grind bag. And it's just the length we would go to just try to mask the smell without, using good stuff. Like I go to the CBCD store today and they automatically give you a smell-proof bag. Every time you make a purchase, there's a smell-proof bag. And I'm just like, amen. But it was just so innocent starting out. And it quickly develops to a bi-week or once every 2 week thing. And then it developed into a once every week thing. And then it developed into a once every day thing. And then it developed into multiple times a day. And then it proceeded to go to many times a day. All day. From waking till sleep, I was always high. And it wasn't such a thing that was overnight. It was so gradual. And it became such a part of my life and my identity. And that was a scary thing to look back on. My identity completely relied on weed. I was Mikey the trapper. I was Mikey the pothead. I was Mikey the stoner. Mikey had a joint in him. What Mikey isn't?
Mikey Jeebs.
Mikey Jeebs. Mikey isn't Mikey without blank. We used to do that on Snapchat. There was a trend we did on Snapchat. Everybody said weed, because that was me. And the reason I had let it consume me so much is honestly I was confused myself. I had a lot of demons inside of me. I didn't even begin to question my sexuality until I was 18, 19. And weed allowed me to mask my feelings. It allowed me to just suppress everything that I didn't want to feel, and it allowed me to just push it somewhere else that wasn't in my active mind. And to someone like me, it can just be the most detrimental thing to you. And I mean, honestly, I wouldn't be the person who I am today without weed and all the experiences I've had. So I'm not regretting. I could never regret anything because everything that I've done has led up to who I am right now.
It is scary, the identity loss that you experience.
Oh my God.
And I experienced that when I met you, not because of you, just kind of they happened at the same time, because college was the first time I ever had that much access to weed, as well as a level of freedom that would allow me to smoke whenever I wanted to. And my process of getting to that smoking every day stage was a little bit less gradual than that. It was a little more, right when I started smoking a couple times a week, it was like, boom, every single fucking day. And it feels at the time like a cool thing. Not like, socially like, oh, I'm the cool guy that smokes weed. But it does feel like you don't have to have other interests. It feels like this is what I do. This is who I am as a person. Like, when people talk to me, I can be the fucking weed guy. I can be the stoner. You kind of play this character in a movie that you've seen before, that guy that's just always pulling up, smelling like fucking weed. He's got sunglasses on and a leather jacket, and he's just, he's the stoner guy. Everybody loves the stoner guy.
Yeah, everybody loves the stoner guy.
Oh
my God. One of my big things was since I used to sell weed, I always had a copious amount of weed on me. I would just always give everybody a free hit. Like, we were in the circle, we were at the smoke spot, y'all were getting a hit, because I didn't realize at the time. I think subconsciously I just wanted everyone to be like on my level, so to say. I just wanted everyone to be where I was at, and I didn't realize it. Quick question, Carson. What did you think of me when you met me in the sense of how I treated weed?
I was intrigued by how into it you were, by how you were that person when I met you. You were that, Mikey Jeebs, like Mikey's got a joint on him type of guy, where you were constantly smoking, looking to smoke. And I think maybe the first time we ever hung out, we were smoking together. You were like, yo, you want to smoke? And I was like, hell, absolutely yes. and I'll tell you viewers this thing. Mikey, for the first, I might have said this before, but Mikey, for the first, I don't know, 9 weeks of college, smoked me out every fucking time we ever smoked. And I didn't take a whole lot of weed to get high. Like, it was very, 2 hits and I was there. But every single time, and never asking for anything in return, never asking like, yo, like, could you pitch in on this? Like, I think eventually when you ran out of money, you started being like, fuck. But for that first little bit, for that first couple weeks, it was just the most gracious stoner. That was who I was interacting with. It was just this, the Santa Claus of marijuana, just always giving and never asking for anything in return. I was fucking blown away by it, because it wasn't just me either. It was
Yeah, no, I was about to say there was a couple people.
There was like a small group of people. I'd say probably 10 people rotating, who would just, you were just ushering them into the woods. Like, all right, you guys, you 4, you're coming with me. We're going to this spot in the woods behind these apartments, and we're gonna go take jeeps in the woods. And I was kind of blown away by how, lackadaisical you were with your consumption and how much you gave away.
It kind of worked out. Like, I never had a problem. I don't think I really had a problem with it, but like, it was kind of cool towards like, later down the road, people would always give me weed, no questions asked, because of what I had done, and it was just like a kind of like a nice thing that I set myself up for.
Yeah, you really had that, like, paying. Everybody kind of had that paying it forward mentality. There were certain people, you were one of them, but there were certain people that just gave so much at certain points that they never had a problem when they were down. When it came to weed or anything else. Like, if they were kind of in a down spot where they had nothing, everybody would like jump in. Our buddy Sean was the same way. Not for that reason. He was just such a nice guy, a nice giving guy, and he was everybody's friend, and he would just always be there for you. And he was always just wanted to hang out. He didn't care about getting fucked up. He just wanted to hang out all the time with anybody, and he was the coolest dude. And so when he started smoking pretty consistently, because he wasn't a smoker when we first knew him, like, wasn't a consistent smoker, and when he started really doing that type of shit, everybody got him all the I think he told me at the end of his college experience, before, like, after he left, which he was only there for about a year, he said, I think I've paid $40 for marijuana since I've been here, and I've smoked almost every day.
Oh my god. Oh my god, that's nice. That is nice.
Yeah, I mean, being a nice person, and like, stoners are good people. They are good giving people for the most part. There are stingy folks, but
yeah,
for the most part, they're just people that want to be loved, and they want to give love in return.
Hey, going back to the identity crisis, the identity that we can give you. I mentioned it earlier, but selling weed was a big part of my identity, because I did it for a year, 2 years, kind of 3 years, on and off. But in college, freshman year, that was all me. And so I had just been selling every day. I was at the command. If someone needed weed, I was there at the snap of a finger. And so basically, and I always went to people. And so, that was what I did. I would go to this dorm, I'd go to this house, I'd go here, I'd go there, I'd go everywhere. I ran out other people's time, even though, like, I was the plug, I didn't say, oh, I can't do that anymore. Like, I can't do that right now. No, I would just be there. I was at the will of other people. And so when I had stopped, and when I had kind of been coming to the realization, like, oh, maybe I'm not straight, maybe I'm gay, maybe I'm trans, maybe I'm bi, maybe this, and it had fallen in the same time where I stopped selling. I had so much time on my hands, and I was like, I was having like a really identity crisis, because I had all this time on my hand, and I wasn't selling weed, and I was barely smoking, and I was lost. I just like, what the hell? Who am I? Like, what am I without my weed?
I remember you during this period. I didn't exactly know what you were going through. I remember when Mikey sort of came out to us as a group of friends, as a large, fractured group of friends. It was a party. I remember this very specifically. It was a party, and you told another friend of ours, you said, I think I'm gay or something like that. Like, I'm gay. And he immediately told all of us. He was like, yo, what the fuck? Like, Mikey's gay. That's crazy. And not even in a malicious way. He was like, dude, that just blew my mind. And we were all like, and some of us were like, whoa, that's crazy. And I and some other people were like, nah, I can see it. And
Yo, that was my favorite. Okay, so the funniest thing about like coming out in college was half the people were like fucking blown away. They're like, Mikey? Gay? No.
well, because you were always so good with girls.
Yeah, I was pulling left, right, and center. I had a way. I have a way. Excuse me. But and then the other half were just like, I was waiting for that to happen. Like, you didn't know. I was just like, God damn it. But fuck. What the fuck was I thinking? The cogs in my brain are trying to turn.
Well,
Oh, yeah, and then the other thing that I really enjoyed about that was, like, you know, some people, we went to school in South Virginia, so some people still had kind of a prejudice, you know? Some people didn't really understand homosexuality, LGBTQ spectrum, transgenderism. They didn't understand that, and so breaking that wall for them, like, hey, this guy that you've known for the past year, that you've become best friends with, because who you've just been buddy with, who's been this kind of person to you, who's been a great person, not to suck my own dick, but who's been like a great person, who's been giving you all this weed. Oh yeah, he's actually gay, and it doesn't even matter if he is or not, because that doesn't change anything about him besides who he likes.
Yeah, I definitely did see that with certain people. You know, not that it was the most prejudiced group of folks. Like,
no,
for
not at all.
For the most part, people were pretty cool, but it wasn't that type of homophobia that was I hate gays, or, you know, gays are the worst and they shouldn't, you know, they're God doesn't like the gays, whatever.
They have less rights.
It was more of a homophobia of
salt.
like, oh, I don't mind gay people. I just don't, you know, I don't want them, you know, hitting on me. I don't want them being around me. 'Cause I'm afraid they're gonna hit on that type of homophobia where it's almost like a paranoia of something that's different. And Mikey coming out during that time, a lot of those people, I really saw a visible change in them instantly, where they were kind of reconsidering some of their values.
That makes me smile. Like, it's a humbling, I don't know if that's the right word. It's a proud thing to just, I don't know how to describe it. Proud doesn't seem like the right word, but it just, to open people's eyes, and I'm not saying like, oh my God, I did that, but like, you know, what I did had an effect on people. And to other people who maybe were in the closet, who maybe didn't know, like, I didn't realize, like, I think deep down I knew, but I went to Catholic school my whole life. Okay, like, there was some serious, just like, it's not okay to be gay. Like, oh, I'm not gay, that's not me. Like, just repression and just memory loss, forgetting who I, like, not being in touch with myself. There was a lot of that. And so, like, through a lot of LSD and through a lot of self-realization and just being with my own thoughts, like, I came to my own terms, and I finally realized, like, some things just are meant how they are supposed to be, and I'm made just how I'm supposed to be made.
Yeah, no, I really do remember that time. And I also remember you being kind of a mopey bastard for a while.
Yeah.
Because I think there were weird ups and downs, ebbs and flows of that time of your life where sometimes you were as happy as could be because you kind of felt free. And then there were plenty of times where I would come to your dorm to make music, and you would just be laying in your bed. It would be 3:00 in the afternoon, and you'd say like, I've been in here all day, just in my bed, not doing shit. And I guess I didn't have the social maturity at that time to be like, yo, let's go take a walk, let's go do something, let's go get the fuck out of here, get your mind clear, which I probably should have done, but
Nah, we were way younger.
Yeah, and it's crazy to think about, but we were a lot less mature. And I just remember that very distinctly, just seeing you kind of going through an identity crisis and an emotional crisis. And and those topics, the topics we've just discussed of, homosexuality or sexuality in general, and weed, they were both playing a pretty big role in that.
Well, my main reason not to smoke weed is because weed turns you gay. So if you don't want to be gay, don't smoke weed.
That's true. That's true. That's true. I was gay for like 3 years. I'm in recovery now, but
Lots of prayer and a weed abstinence, right, Carson?
a lot of prayer. Oh my God.
Chick-fil-A too. Oh my God, dude, you would Snapchat me pictures every day just eating Chick-fil-A sandwiches.
Okay, don't. We're making funny jokes here, but don't slander my name like that.
Oh my goodness.
I'm not out here eating hate chicken. Don't support Chick-fil-A. It's a bad company.
Hey, chicken is yummy. Hey, chicken is yummy. Okay.
They have yummy chicken and evil people.
But my train of thought. Blah. So going back to my main topic about weed was, I never saw it as a problem. I never, ever saw it as a problem. And I would start to justify things that I normally wouldn't do. Driving while I was high, going to class high, smoking every day. And, it's like, I really got lost in the sauce. And that's such a good way to describe it because...
Yeah, Gucci was a poet.
The more you do it, the more lazy you get with it. The more I did it, the more lazy I got with it. And the more lazy I got with it, the less I started caring about things, the less caution I would take, and the less fucks I would give. And go ahead.
Well, I think I've discussed this on here before, but different people have different reactions to weed, like consumption every day or frequent consumption. Some people, like Mikey and I, get really fucking lazy and just don't want to do anything. So people, specifically me, I just become very socially anxious. My social anxiety goes through the roof. I don't want to talk to anybody that I'm not familiar with. I don't really even want to talk to the people who I am familiar with. I just want to be alone and be, by myself in my own head. And some people, they get very social when they smoke weed. Some people get very productive when they smoke weed. And what I've heard from mental health professionals that I've worked with, not as an employee or as I'm not a mental health professional, people that have been working on this fucking head, but those people have told me that I have ADD, and people with an ADD brain do not react well with weed, generally speaking, because you have this brain that's going a mile a minute that can't focus on anything, and weed dulls that completely. It just kind of tones it down. So in the process, it tones down everything. It kind of just makes you comfortable in the fact that finally the cogs are stopped moving. There's nothing going on anymore, and that's perfectly fine because I'm so used to everything being so fast in my brain. And it's good to just have that, that release, that escape.
Wow. I kind of relate to that. I really kind of relate to that. Jeez.
Yeah. I've been telling Mikey forever. I think I remember telling you when I first got my diagnosis from the doctors. I was like, I think you're ADD. I think we're both ADD. I think we have very similar symptoms in this shit. Maybe I'm just talking out my ass. Maybe I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about, which seems likely. But I really think that if you have ADD, that weed's just not a good idea because it doesn't do anything good for you. It just masks all these things, all these qualities of ADD that are uncomfortable. And instead of masking those, you should learn about them and figure out how to incorporate them positively into your life.
I have yet to get diagnosed, or been seeing a psychiatrist about that, but I'm okay with that right now. Weed is not inherently bad, but the way you can use it can be detrimental, like I had. Like, how it revolved around all my friendships in high school, how it revolved around all my social interactions in high school. We didn't talk about school or grades. We talked about getting high and smoking weed, and we smoked weed and we really didn't talk about our problems. We really didn't do any of that. We just smoked instead of talking about our problems. So my main takeaway from all this is that, weed we can be a good thing. We can be a fun thing. We can be a great thing.
Yeah.
But it can also be a terrible thing, and be responsible with it and just take care of yourself.
Yeah, my main takeaway is that weed is a vice like anything else, and it's not harmless. It's harmless physically. It's not gonna fuck you up. It's not gonna, put you in a gutter somewhere. But it is harmful in the way that television is harmful. It's harmful in the way that shopping too much or eating too much is harmful. If you do anything to excess, it can take over your life. And if it takes over your life, then you don't focus on anything else that really matters to you. And you start to have this idea that this thing that fulfills this hole in yourself is what makes you happy.
Guys, stay safe. Be careful. Have fun. Thank you for watching, per usual. And I hope you all have a great week.
Love you guys.
Peace.
Been feeling
Disconnected now.
I get money. No, I'm reckless now.
I get high. Coming off the ground.
This life is a prison, someone let me out.